All right, hello grade 11s. Mr. D. Almeida here. We're going to be talking about your CLA. Don't ask me what that stands for. You'll have to ask Mr. Wills or Mr. Wong. We're going to be walking through what are the steps you'll need to take to, do well on your CLA. Particularly here, these are going to be the instructions of how to get, your tracker program up and running and how to use it to get the equations you need. Because, well, that's all you kind of need to do with this program. We are assuming you already have videotaped your basketball shot, whatever you did, and you have that file ready. Okay, so you will have access to this instruction booklet later on, and maybe actually you already have seen it before you watch this video. This is going to be the video form of it. So if you work better by reading, hey, this is just this document here. That's for you. If you want to see it done in person, well, that's what the video is for. I'll be literally following it to the T. Yeah. Okay, let's get started. I guess I'll bring it back here for a second. Well, where we start is to install the tracking program. Tracking tracker program. Let's click on it. We go to this website, and now the first thing is you have to choose. Depending on which operating system you have, this is my Windows operating system, so I would download the Windows option, and we would download it over here. If you have Mac, over here. If you are very cool and have a Linux system, actually come talk to me. But you have some options here too. Once it's downloading, you'll open it. You'll go through the installation process. You know what? I'll open up just in case. Just anyway. You'll press yes. I already have it installed, so I'm not going to actually go through with it. But yep, something like this should pop up, and it's already installed. Do you want to reinstall it? I'm gonna say no. You'll just go through the installation process yourself. So for me, I'm just gonna open it up. Tracker. And once you have it open, it should look something like this. Okay. Wonderful. Well, the first thing you'll need to do is to upload your video. I already have my video saved on my desktop. You should save it, well, anywhere you want, like in terms of easy access for the program to get to. So that being said, I'm going to go to video and import. This will bring the video that I need into the program tracker. I am going to go with the last video here. I think this is the one I'm going to use, and it'll take a couple of seconds for the video to upload. Wonderful. Once you have the video uploaded, let me just get my script out again. We have uploaded our video. Now, a couple things to note. Let's say if your orientation wasn't correct. You can fix that before you start anything by going to Filters, New, and Rotate. So maybe I don't know. You started off like this, and you just want to rotate it so it looks okay. And we want the ball to go from the left to the right. So we will also press reverse over here just to make sure that works out. Okay, yeah. So once you get it into the correct direction and, play around with it, so that the ball goes from the left to the right, we are ready to begin. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to find out, well, where in the clip does the ball leave the hand of the thrower? We want to be really good with that because we don't want to start right from the beginning. The parabolic motion of the ball only begins once the ball leaves the hand of the thrower. So for us, you just play around with the bottom right buttons here, the left and the right, and you go frame by frame. Okay, so that's when the ball left. I could either take frame 21 here or frame 22. I think both would be just fine. I think frame 21. That looks pretty good. Once we have that, now we're ready to kind of calibrate some things. The first thing we want to calibrate is, well, the video doesn't tell us in terms of how big things are. It has pixels, but in order to say, okay, 50 pixels is equal to 1 meter, we have to do something called calibration. And in the top left over here, we have a calibration tool. We'll go to New, Calibration Stick. Okay, Now you know you've done okay because it'll say calibration stick over here. And what we will do is now holding the shift key, I am going to identify a height I know. Well, I know this gentleman over here. I will click the top of his head and the bottom of his feet. And this is why it's pretty important that you get, when you take your video, the video that Mr. Wills and I took, and thanks to Miss Evans for video filming it for us, it's important that you get the feet in there. There's a slight cheat. You can, estimate where the person's feet are. So I'm going to put my feet at about here. My top of my head is about here. So shift click will create the first reference point, release, shift click again to get the measurement. Now, by default, I think the program goes to 499.6 meters. I'm not half a kilometer long, so I'm going to change that. My height is a healthy 1.78 meters tall. So I'll just type in 1.78 over here. Okay. Now I've told the program, well, approximately what distance to pixel ratio it's going to use. The next thing we'll do is, well, just like in a graph, we need to know where the origin is. Well, we also need to tell that to this program here. So on this button over here, which looks like, well, two axes, will show you where the axes are. Right now, it says the origin is here. We want to set the origin, the 0, point, to be where the feet of the thrower are. So I think Mr. Wills' feet is about here. I'm going to put it at that. And once again, I'm going to stress, the video we took is not the greatest. We needed to get our feet into frame. Luckily, we got the whole trajectory of the ball into frame, so that part was fine. But we should have gotten both of our feet into frame. Okay. Now that we have our calibrated height, we have our 0 set. The next thing is to tell what time or what frame for the program to consider to be the 0. Well, in this case, this is frame 21. I want to click on it and select set time to 0. So I'm telling the program at frame 21, that is time equals to 0. That's when the ball just leaves the thrower's hand. It could be a little bit before or after. I think, okay, so Mr. Wills is just barely touching onto it. Once again, this frame or the next frame would have been a good choice. And now I think I'm ready to begin the tracking process. So we'll go to the create button. We'll click on point mass. You'll see this track control come up and it'll say mass A. Don't worry about that. That's just the name. All we have to do is now click on the center of whatever object we're tracking at every single frame. We're going to hold down the shift button. So when you hold on the shift button, my cursor changed, and I'm going to click on the basketball. And as soon as I clicked on the basketball, you see that the video went to the next frame. And, well, that makes it convenient. I just got to keep clicking the center of the basketball, and the video will track where that basketball is. So go frame by frame. Take your time. I'm going relatively quickly here just because, well, it's for a video. I'm going to speed up the rest of it, maybe in post. So we're going to get, try to hit the center. And as you can see, Mr. Wills threw wonderfully. That's why I had to move. Okay, keep it going. And we keep tracking it till the catcher touches the ball. So one more frame. I think I could take this one too. After that, now the trajectory of the ball has changed. I would suggest you go slower just because, you want to get a nicer looking parabola than the one we're going to get, just in this little demonstration. Okay, now that we've done that, if you want to actually see it, the program only tracks, I think, 13 points. We can hit this button over here, set trail length, and show all steps. So it'll show you every single button click, every single place where the basketball was. And if you want to see the trajectory, click on this button here, which is called the hide and show paths. It just basically connects the dots. And hey, this is a nice photo. You can, if you're on Windows, you can go to the snipping tool, click new, you would highlight, and you can paste this wherever you need to. On Mac, I'm sure there's some other program out there. If you're using Linux, I don't know any program. You'll have to figure that one out. Okay. From here, we have all the data points. So essentially, the tracking is over. We now need to worry about how to use the data we figured out. Okay, we're at this point now. We're just going to work with the data. So we'll click on Table because there's some variables we need and some we don't. We can unclick the X because we're not too concerned about the displacement in the X direction. We do want the Y position and we want the vertical velocity. So click on VY. So these are the two variables we're going to be considering for our graphs. Okay, and we can close that. The next thing we could do is to actually get the graphs. The way we would do that is to right click our data set and go to Analyze. And in Analyze, hey, have a look. We have that nice parabola. This is the trajectory of the ball. And this pink line over here, the scatter plot, is the velocity of the ball. Your next task will be to get the equation of that line. To do that, we will click on Analyze and select Curve Fits. And in Curve Fits, we want to make sure that we're analyzing the parabola here. So I will make sure that my T is in the horizontal column. So not something like this. T is yellow and my Y is green. It's in the vertical column here. If that's in the right spot, then guess what? We are ready to move on to, and I'm going to just click off the vertical velocity for now, just because I don't need it. I want the equation for my parabola. I'm going to click next on parabola because, well, we want to get the equation of our parabola. And as you might expect, we get the equation in standard form, where our A, B, and C values are the same A, B's, and C's you see when you have standard form. Okay, now the only difference is that students may notice that this is E0 business here. In fact, if you had a different value, I'm going to change the height real quick. What if this was, I don't know, 50 meters instead? You may see lots of E's in our data set. Let's go back to the analyze function here. Maybe I have to refresh it. No, close, analyze again. Yeah, you see these E's. It's scientific notation. That's all it is. So E2 means 10 to the power of 2. E1 means 10 to the power of 1. E0 means 10 to the power of 0. This is a scientific program, so it's going to give you numbers in scientific notation. I'm going to put the height back to what it was. Do I have to refresh it? No, it changed it for me. Okay, so negative 4.658 is the same as negative 4.658 because this is 10 to the power of 0. So no other thing needs to be said here. If you look at this part over here, e to the negative 2 means you need to move the decimal place twice to the left. Same thing as saying 10 to the power of negative 2. And wonderful, I think that's it. If you wanted to get the graph of your vertical velocity, well, here we have our table of values. You can analyze what these numbers mean and interpret them later. If you wanted to get a graph of that, you know what, I would just move this over and keep this here to uncheck that. And if you wanted to get the equation of that line, you can just click line instead. And here we go. We get a and B value corresponding to the equation of a line. I think that's it for me. I'm just going to double check everything here. I think that's great. If you have any questions, please do ask your teacher. If I am your teacher, ask another teacher. Have a wonderful day.